Perhaps it's for the best Luke and Leia were hidden from me. Turns out, I'm not too good with kids. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. The final film in the prequel trilogy, written and directed by George Lucas, completing the story he began back in 1977. Episode 3 is by far the strongest of the prequels, telling a gripping and emotional story of loss, betrayal, and the tragedy of how a good man can fall from grace. The film begins with one of the most impressive space battles in the entire saga, and at the time, the opening shot of the film was the longest sustained CGI shot in cinema history. For the first time in Star Wars, we get to see capital ships duke it out like old pirate galleons, harkening back to the adventure films of the 1930s and 40s that inspired George Lucas in the first place. Now after some fancy flying and a run-in with some weird little spider robot thingies, Obi-Wan and myself board General Grievous's ship to rescue the captive Chancellor Palpatine. The only downside to Grievous is that he kind of sounds like Hector Concarne from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, but other than that, he's pretty wizard. According to Lucas, Grievous was foreshadowing of what I would become, being half machine. Fun fact, while recording the dialogue for Grievous, they wanted to add a unique signature to his character. At the time, George Lucas had a severe case of bronchitis, so being the thrifty filmmaker that he is, he figured, hey, why put a good cough to waste? So every time you're hearing Grievous cough, it's actually Lucas. The theme John Williams wrote for Grievous's arrival on Utapau is chilling and memorable. I only wish it had been in the film more, and as with each of the Star Wars films, Williams proves once again that he is the consummate and undisputed master of film score. Back to the film, Obi-Wan and myself get a rematch with Count Dooku in a scene reminiscent of the ending of Return of the Jedi, as Palpatine sits in a similar chair and watches his apprentice battle a younger, more powerful Jedi Knight. I come out ahead this time around, as Dooku's head ends up on the chopping block, so to speak, with Palpatine maneuvering me into position to take Dookie's old job. Stunt coordinator Nick Allard once again delivers truly spectacular lightsaber battles, managing to top his previous work in both episodes 1 and 2. Adding more epic duels than the rest of the saga put together, the climactic battle on Mustafar is still the greatest saber duel of the entire Star Wars saga. Speaking of which, I know Obi didn't quite have the heart to kill me and all, but isn't finishing me off with one quick chop more merciful than turning into a Kentucky Fried Sith Lord burning to death on the side of a volcano? The central core of this film is my fall to the dark side while trying to save the one I love. When I start having dreams of Padme dying in childbirth, I try my best to keep this from coming true. But through all of my steps to avert the problem, I end up causing my visions to become a reality. Kinda like an episode of That's So Raven, except with more lightsabers, dismemberment, and child murder. Once again, Ian McDiarmid shows his true mastery of his craft, portraying Emperor Palpatine. He is the puppet master here, manipulating the Senate, the Jedi, and the fate of the galaxy itself with calculated subtlety and devilish charm. He filmed the Night at the Opera scene where he tells the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, all while battling laryngitis, and it's still the best scene of the film, proving what an amazing actor he really is. Revenge of the Sith is a cautionary tale to be mindful of who we are, and a lesson that our intentions and choices can lead to places we never intended if we're not careful. There are several moments in this film that show George Lucas's skill and genius as a writer and filmmaker, showing his knowledge of politics, mythology, and human nature. One such scene is where I deliberate whether or not to help the Chancellor or stay in the council chamber as Master Windu ordered me. Without a word of dialogue, you feel the struggle within, as the score gives the feeling of dread, sadness, and the inevitability of what is about to happen. And I have to say, between this movie and Jurassic Park, Samuel L. Jackson just doesn't have much luck with that right arm of his. One of the major themes of the prequels is causing the very future you're trying to avoid. And sadly, this is the case many Star Wars fans find themselves in today, And much like how I force-choked Padme over a perceived betrayal, as a fan base, many of us turned on Lucas, causing him to lose the will to create, giving Star Wars over to lesser men, who value mystery boxes and subverted expectations over good storytelling. Over the years, it's become popular to hate the prequels, and many people who enjoy them won't admit it for fear of ridicule. But I want to help you take this mask of peer pressure off and look on these films with your own eyes. If you love the prequels, then love them. And if you hate them, hate them. But do so because it's how you truly feel, and not because your friends or some jumped-up little turd on the internet pressured you into it. For its emotional and complex story, breathtaking lightsaber duels, amazing action set pieces, stellar performances by Ewan McGregor and Ian McDiarmid in particular, groundbreaking visual effects work, and moving film score, I give Revenge of the Sith 4 out of 5 Death Stars. The Force is strong with this one. I know I review film on this channel, but next week we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to be reviewing The Story of the Force Unleashed, a game that would help bridge the gap between episodes 3 and 4. Since the storyline for the game was written by George Lucas and tells about the rise of the rebellion, I personally consider it to be part of the Star Wars saga. All of the cutscenes have been edited together so you can see it as a movie right here on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can watch it before I review The Force Unleashed next week. After that, we'll get back to the films with Rogue One. This has been Vader Reviews. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, and follow me on Twitter. Join the Empire today. You do not yet realize your importance. Share these videos, and together we will rule the internet. And always remember, you don't know the power of the dark side.